The Kansas City Chiefs are back with yet another UDFA class. The undrafted rookie free agents are something that Brett Veach has really honed in and made an art form out of. Guys, if you can pluck an actual NFL player off of the ranks of the UDFAs, it's like having another draft pick. And it's not just like having another draft pick, it's like having another draft pick that pays off, having another draft pick that hits, having another draft pick that makes the team, so long as this UDFA makes the team. These are players acquired essentially for free. You're not spending a draft pick on them. You're not getting pulled out of the compensatory pick market because of them, and you're not spending big money on these guys. Now, in this UDFA class, the Kansas City Chiefs just brought in 74 players for their rookie minicamp. Among them are 17 undrafted rookie free agents. The others, many of them are draft picks. Well, 7 of them, I guess, are draft picks. There's a couple of veterans thrown in, but also there are mini camp invites, which is less of an investment than having already signed a player to a UDFA contract. Now, in my opinion, let me start this way. Okay, I'm not here to toot my own horn. What I'm trying to do with this segment is say, hey, sometimes I've called this right. I did not see Tershawn Wharton becoming a Kansas City Chief. Is at least by this point, like by training camp, sure, yeah, you start to see that. I did not call Tershawn Wharton. I incorrectly called Jerome Carvin. I incorrectly called Mike Rose. I thought both of those players would be Kansas City Chiefs. However, I did call Justin Ross. That one was easy. You, me, and the world called Justin Ross. I did call Mike Caliendo. Very few people called Mike Caliendo. I did call Jack Cochran. No one called Jack Cochran. If you were watching this saying, hey, I called Jack Cochran being a Kansas City Chief, buddy, it was you and me. That's it. Deneric Prince. I called Deneric Prince early, but I didn't know exactly that he was going to look as good as he did. And Cam Jones. Cam Jones, more of an obvious one. Okay, so that's just laying the table a little bit. Sometimes and I don't think that's anything, special about me. I think that sometimes these situations lay themselves out in front of you. There are 3 guys in this UDFA class of 17 players that I really think have a great chance of being Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this is a really good UDFA class. So there's several players that could end up being Kansas City Chiefs and many more who could be professional football players, end up taking reps on an NFL field, whether they are on offense, defense, or special teams. The 3 for this team this year that I think will make the roster or the practice squad, 2 are probable roster contenders. Fabian Levette, the defensive tackle out of Florida State, is, I think, going to make this team. Curtis Jacobs, the linebacker out of Penn State. The Kansas City Chiefs love to have those extra linebackers running around the roster and wrecking things on special teams. He has a real shot at doing so. And this guy here today, Miles Battle. Now, is he professional ready? No. I think he will take a more circuitous path to the NFL. I think that he will take the Mike Caliendo route in spending a year on the practice squad. I would not cut him. I mean, sure, maybe if he's absolutely terrible, you do. I don't see that being the case. I think he's a little rough around the edges, and we'll get to that in the final portion of this video. But I think Miles Battle has a real shot at being a Kansas City Chief for the 2024 season. This video will have 3 sections to it. A Who section where we talk about the athlete and the player that is Miles Battle. A What section where we talk about the athlete and the player that is Miles Battle. A Why section where we talk about the athlete and the player that is Miles Battle. A Who section where we talk about the athlete and the player that is Miles Battle. A Who section where we talk about the athlete and the player that is Miles Battle. A What section where we talk about the athlete and the player that is Miles Battle. A Who section where we talk about the athlete and the player that is Miles Battle. A Who section where we talk about the athlete and the player that is Miles Battle. A Who section where we talk about the athlete and the player that is Miles Battle. A Who section where we talk about the athlete and the player that is Miles Battle. A Who section where we talk about the athlete and the player that is Miles Battle. A Who section where we talk about the athlete and the player that is Miles Battle. A Who section where we talk about the athlete and the player that is Miles Battle. A Who section where we talk about the athl The second part, strengths and weaknesses of his game. And third, an analysis portion where we talk about how he might fit onto the Kansas City Chiefs and what that might look like. We're going to start here with the measurables, and I want to give a shout out to Miles Battle himself, who helped me out with these numbers. I got a hold of him on Twitter at MilesBattle2 because I could not find his pro day numbers anywhere, and he was kind enough to send me a screenshot with these numbers on it. Now, guys, these are some impressive numbers for the young cornerback out of Utah. And by the way, you're looking at a red-tailed hawk because that is what the Utah mascot is. Guys, these are impressive numbers. 6'3", 196 pounds as a cornerback. And when you look at his film, yes, he is a cornerback. He is not a safety who was forced to play cornerback because it is a high-leverage position at a school that did not have the talent to keep him at the safety position. He is a cornerback. He runs a 4.37 40-yard dash. That would have been good for 5th overall among cornerbacks at the NFL Combine this year. A 37-inch vertical would have been tied for 15th, but it should be noted that there were 7 guys with a 40-inch vertical or better. That is unusual. That is this combine had some absolute freaks as far as the physical stuff is concerned with the cornerbacks. A 127-inch broad jump would have been tied for 13th at the NFL Combine. But again, there were 3 guys with an 11-foot broad jump and another 2 guys with a 10-foot 11-inch broad jump and another pair of guys with a 10-foot 10-inch broad jump. And then there were 4 guys with a 10-foot 9-inch broad jump. So this was a cornerback class in this NFL draft with some absolute hops to them. Those 12 bench press reps would have been good for 9th overall. The 6-8-4 3-cone drill would have been 3rd overall. I cannot overstate the importance of a good cone drill for a position like cornerback. Change of direction. That 6-8-4 would have been 3rd overall, and a lot of guys chose not to even run it, meaning they probably would have scored well below the 6.84. That 4.03 short shuttle would also have been good for 3rd overall. These numbers. Now, guys, just for comparison's sake, the number 1 short shuttle time at the NFL Combine was 3.98, put up by Miles Harden of South Dakota, who now finds himself a Cleveland Brown. Miles Harden is 5'11". Miles Battle here is 6'3". Miles Harden's 40-yard dash was a 4.5 flat. Miles Battle 4.37. Miles Battle is a great big athlete who has change of direction skills. This is exactly what you want for a cornerback. One more quick comparison for those numbers. Mystery corner was 6 foot and 1/2 inch, which is an edge to Miles Battle by 2.5 inches. 192 pounds, edge Miles Battle by 4 pounds. I don't have this number up there, but an arm length of 31 3/8 inches for the mystery corner, an arm length of 32.125 for Miles Battle, edge Miles Battle. 40-yard dash, and this might give it away for some of you, 4.37 for the mystery corner, 4.37 for Miles Battle. Vertical leap, 41 inches for the mystery corner, an edge of 4 inches over Miles Battle. Broad jump of 10 foot 11 inches, an advantage of 4 inches for the mystery corner, and a bench press of 12 reps. Those numbers are tied. This mystery corner did not run the shuttle or the 3-cone drill, so make of that what you will. The mystery corner is, of course, L'Jarius Sneed. And when you watch Miles Battle on tape, a little bit of L'Jarius Sneed is going to jump out at you. On the right half of your screen in 2021, he had 22 tackles, 1 interception, and 8 pass breakups. 2022, 38 tackles, 1 interception, and 4 pass breakups. And in 2023, 32 tackles, 1 interception, and 3 pass breakups. Now, strengths and weaknesses for Miles Battle. Number 1 strength, obviously, is that athleticism. That athleticism is absolutely elite. Number 2 is the size. He is not just an electric athlete. He is an electric athlete with size and length. He is bigger than L'Jarius Sneed by a good margin. Now, I'm not saying he's L'Jarius Sneed, okay? I want to get that out there right now. It would be unfair to either of these athletes, L'Jarius Sneed or Miles Battle, to say that he is L'Jarius Sneed. But, guys, golly, does he make you feel a little bit better about the overall athletic profile of the Kansas City Chiefs. And number 3 on the strengths here is quickness. Now, he's got a lot of strengths, but the reason I want to put that up there in addition to the athleticism, it's very easy for guys his size to not look quick. It's very easy for guys his size, for guys his speed, to rely on long speed. He does not do these things. He is a quick twitch athlete. I would have been very interested if he had gone to the combine to see that 10-yard split, because he's one of these guys that looks like he has instant acceleration. He doesn't have to build the speed. Now, you look over on the weaknesses side of the screen and it says experience, but he was in college for 6 years. 5 years at Ole Miss and a final season at Utah. But for some reason, he looks like one of the old school SEC athletes. If you remember way back in the day when everyone kind of knew that the best athletes were in the SEC, but everyone also kind of knew that they had no coaching, basically what has turned into Florida and Florida State. If you draft someone from Florida or Florida State, you know that they are a raw athlete who's going to be fast, who's going to be strong, but has no idea how to play the sport of football. Now, I will not say that Miles Battle has no idea how to play the sport of football, but I will definitely say that some good coaching will go a long way with Miles Battle. He's like I was starting to say, if you remember watching SEC football way back in the day, you knew you were going to see exciting stuff, but you knew probably there wasn't a whole lot of football planning on the other side of it. And a great example of this is actually Steve Spurrier, former Florida quarterback. For anyone who is not familiar with the most SEC story you will ever hear, apparently Steve Spurrier's in college. He's, tossing the pigskin all over the place. The game is on the line. This isn't an exact story, so don't quote me on it, but this is essentially what happened. The game comes down to a 48-yard field goal, and they are down by 2 points, and the kicker says, "I don't think I can make it." And the coach says, "Steve, he doesn't think he can make it. We've got to go out and we've got to convert this 4th down." And Steve Spurrier says, "No, I'll kick the field goal." And he kicks the field goal. That is what SEC football used to be. And Miles Battle is sort of that type of athlete. Hey, we need somebody to cover wide receivers. Why don't you go do it? That's what it looks like has happened during the length of his college career. It's strange. It's a weird thing when you watch him because he's not football illiterate. He's very good at diagnosing screens. He's very good at the blitz, and he's very good at the blitz and picking up when it's not a pass, right? So you've got to cut off the blitz and go help in run support. He's good in run support. He's good at tackling. He's just not refined when it comes to those things that it means to play the cornerback position. And I've got the same thing here for number 2 and 3. Number 2, one of his weaknesses is aggression, but it's aggression in the zone coverage. He looks almost as if he is waiting for someone at times to make the catch so that he can then go make the play. And frankly, that's a trap that a lot of college cornerbacks fall into. The old trope of covering grass instead of men. Right? It's cover 2, so you're responsible for the flats. Well, instead of just standing in the flats, you want to be as close to whoever is in the flats as possible. You are playing man with who is in the flats insofar as they are in the flats. And number 3 there, too aggressive. I think he is going to get called for lots of pass interference penalties at the NFL level. Again, that's something we saw from L'Jarius Sneed, and you just had to accept it because he was a very physical cornerback who was going to frustrate wide receivers and end up making more plays than not. But that conundrum right there, where he's not aggressive in zone and he's too aggressive in man, and if he relied on his speed and quickness, he would not have to be too aggressive in zone, and he would not have to be not aggressive in zone, and he would not have to be too aggressive with his hands. But guys, here's the good news. That's exactly what you want to coach someone into and out of. Because you're not taking a cornerback and coaching him to be 6'3". You're not taking a cornerback and coaching him to run a 4.37. You're not taking a cornerback and coaching him into the third highest 3-cone drill and the third highest short shuttle at the NFL Combine. Those qualities are uncoachable. So what's my analysis here, and how could this guy possibly have gone undrafted? He's good at football, he's bad at cornerback. That said, when he's on the field, 6'3" or not, he looks like a cornerback. He moves like a cornerback. He tackles, however, like a safety. If Miles Battle can get into camp and really soak in the coaching, really understand that there are some techniques that override athleticism. So even though it feels unnatural to do XYZ and it feels like you're sacrificing your speed, you do XYZ and then rely on your athleticism after the fact. And ironically, I think early in his career he might actually be a better zone corner than he is a man press corner, despite the fact that he has that size, and I said that he kind of does not look good in zone coverage. And that's because if you can get the right coach in his ear to make things click as far as responsibility is concerned, he's not timid, he's not slow, he's not unwilling to tackle. He seems to love the aggression of the game. He seems to lean right into it. So if he can work on the instincts necessary to end up really trusting his aggression, being a zone coverage cornerback is going to be something that he can do. And I think what you want to do with a guy who has shown as many holes in his game without being unwilling and while having all of the athleticism is you give them one thing that they can do, right? You get him comfortable in cover 2 defenses, you run him onto the field, and he can do cover 2 defenses. And then you sort of build out from there. If I was going to compare him to anyone on the Chiefs right now, it would be Jaylen Watson. Obviously, the physical stuff is there. Jaylen Watson, 6'2", 197 pounds. A lot of battles measurables are better, but Jaylen Watson was not a slouch as far as the testing stuff was concerned. The real question starts to become with this cornerback room, who do you want to cut? I like Echo Boydo. I thought he had a good camp last year. I thought he definitely showed more than the average UDFA. Nick Jones is a draft choice from just last year. Trent McDuffie is your stud. Jaylen Watson and Joshua Williams, while neither of them seemed to want that third cornerback spot last year, both of them were too good to get rid of. Kamal Hadden was taken in this very draft. It's just a very crowded room, and I don't know. So right now, if you had to name your practice squad, cut the players, and sneak them through waivers, Miles Battle would sneak through waivers. I don't know if that's going to be the case come the end of preseason. Miles Battle is the level of athlete that all it's going to take is 1 or 2 things to click, and all of a sudden he is a completely different player. Remember, L'Jarius Sneed, his rookie season, looked like a pretty good cornerback. Looked like one of maybe the better cornerbacks in his draft class. He didn't look like L'Jarius Sneed. He did not look like the L'Jarius Sneed that we came to know. But there was enough there that you knew he was going to be good. Again, not comparing him to L'Jarius Sneed, but from L'Jarius Sneed's rookie season to his final season in Kansas City, that is a massive leap in quality of play from a cornerback. Once things start clicking for guys at these positions with these types of tools, they go very fast. And look, I'm going to be honest with you right now. Everything coming out of my mouth is biased because this, in my eyes, is the most exciting UDFA that we signed this season. Oh, if Fabian Levette makes the roster, he'll be much more important. The Kansas City Chiefs have Chris Jones at defensive tackle and basically no one else. Curtis Jacobs is way more practical a pick given the Kansas City Chiefs' history with UDFA linebackers. It is much more practical to say Curtis Jacobs is going to be a Kansas City Chief this season. Carson Steele is probably a much more fun selection. It would be more fun if Carson Steele was my ultimate pick at the UDFA of the UDFA class this year. Or if I thought I had the inside slight on Reggie Brown being an absolute killer at wide receiver in the NFL, that would be pretty fun. Or Baylor Cupp finally giving the Kansas City Chiefs a big blocking tight end that can also catch. Or Ethan Driscoll being the left tackle in waiting. All of those things would be way more fun to sit here and talk about than another defensive back from Brett Veach. But guys, when you watch his film, now there are some definitive flaws, right? There are some very big downsides. There are some crash plays. But the flash plays, if you can normalize the flash plays over the crash plays, this guy is going to be a regular on the field in no time. That's all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Kansas City Chiefs are the only thing that I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. And if you want to help me out a little bit further, there is a link to my Patreon to be found in the description below, because YouTube refuses to play nice. Let me know if there are any players from the 74-man rookie minicamp that you want to hear me talk about. There are several more UDFA videos to come, and as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.